All right, thanks, Mike. My name's Loren, and I'm an alcoholic.
Loren.
Gil, great job. 60 days, man. Make it 90.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Ryan. This will be your last year. Make it 2. Rob, great to know you in the past year. I see him at San Marino, 4 years. It's amazing. And Gary, 49 years. Well done. Thank you. I'd like to thank Louie for tagging me to come out tonight. It's always a special honor to be speaking at a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. I never take it for granted. I also want to thank Chris K, my Uber driver. He's right over here. We swam all the way from Echo Park to get out here. And I'm grateful for you. Thanks, Chris, for picking me up. I'm just going to go by the numbers real quick. My sobriety date is March 4th of 2007. I had a birthday on Monday. I did not know that you guys had birthdays here, but you know what? Next time I come out, maybe I'll make a special trip. So I celebrated 17 years. Chuck right over there is my sponsor. He's my 5th sponsor in 17 years. I had one that went out, I had one that died, I had one that got sick, and one that moved away. So I restart every time, and with a new sponsor when that happens. I picked him up last year. We go out of the book. I have a home group. It's in Burbank. It's the 7 o'clock men's Stag. We go out and we read from the literature and we share on the literature. And then I also have a commitment there. I'm the secretary. I've got a sponsee, not actively doing anything, but I do work with other alcoholics when I can. And I've been married for 12 years in this program. So there's just some quick stats about who I am and where I'm at before I bore you to death with the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because I, just like Gary said, I'm out of the book, man. I'm not a big book thumper, but because I don't go knocking on people's doors, I just work it out of the book. This right here is the most important piece of literature in my life today. Right here. I don't know about you guys, but the first 162 pages has 12 steps of recovery in there. And when I work it out of the book, my life not only stays sober, but I get recovery from alcoholism. And I also have a pretty kick-ass life. I've had a pretty cool bit of sobriety because of it. So as it suggested, it was when I came in, I got the book, I get a sponsor, I meet with a sponsor on a weekly basis, and I work out of the book. I be of service, I get a home group, I get a commitment, and I do what is asked of me no matter what. So if I got to trek all over town through the rain on a busy Wednesday night, then I'll do it, because my sobriety comes first before anything else. So a little bit about that. That's my big 5-minute plug. So I moved out here 20 years ago as another geographic, a great alcoholic tool that I use is to avoid and, fix my problems, not only with drinking, but escape, and I don't want to deal with life on life's terms. So what I like to do is go along Interstate 10. I started in Florida, worked my way through Texas, and made it all the way out to LA, in 15 years. And I wound up going, there's no other place to go, man, because wherever I went, there I was. It doesn't matter if I was married, not married, if I had a job, not had a job, if I had money, if I didn't have money. My solution was to pick up a drink, no matter what. That's just how I'm wired. I was going through the doctor's opinion today before I come out here, because I always like to do a quick plug about what makes an alcoholic tick, right? Because some of you guys are new, and welcome to anybody who didn't identify. If you're too afraid to show up, and that's okay, man. I was kind of that guy in the back of the room. But if you're new to Alcoholics Anonymous, what I heard in the beginning is I got something wrong up here and in here. I got a physical allergy to this thing. I got a mental obsession, and I'm spiritually sick. And it's outlined in the doctor's opinion in the book. And it really showcases exactly when I want comfort and ease in life. I want things to go my way. And when things don't, and I don't have that comfort and ease, alcohol was the quickest, fastest solution for me for 20 years. It worked when I started in 13. And it worked all the way up to about 32, and to the point where I hit my own bottom, and my obsession almost killed me. I don't know about you guys, but my bottom, I didn't have somebody knocking on my door, "Hey, Loren, how's it going?" I had managed to alienate myself pretty much from everybody, all family. I was barely hanging on to a job. I was barely hanging on financially. I'd wrecked numerous lives across, the Interstate 10 corridor from Pensacola to El Paso to Los Angeles. And I tell you what, the incomprehensible demoralization it talks about in the book, when I read that part, I really understood it. And I heard other guys, the misery that came from drinking and the way I was living. And so once I came to, the next day, it was about sometime at the end of '06, my solution was sitting at a table, had the poor me's. Pour me, pour me, pour me another drink. You ever hear that? There you go. It was a self-pity, disillusion, and the insanity that I thought I could control my drinking, and I realized I wanted not to drink anymore because I was going to kill myself. And that's my body. That's my body. That's my alcoholic body. And luckily enough, I had at least a girlfriend that kind of helped me out and get me connected with somebody that got me connected with Alcoholics Anonymous. And it took me a few meetings, it took me a few months before AA started to stick in '07. I wasn't floored right away with the grandeur of AA in my neck of the woods. But I started seeing guys just like y'all that were working this program. And I was hearing the success and the hope that they got from this program. And I was like, wow, I heard this one speaker and I wanted what he had. He had 12 years, he was going on tour, he was sober. And I was like, wait a minute, you're playing music in bars and you're doing this? I couldn't believe it, man. And he was genuine about it. And his name was Yancey. And that kind of got the hook in me. The hope that this program brought to him and the way he was living his life sober. Because even though I was not drinking anymore that first year, I had zero tools on how to live sober. Now, I've known dudes that have stayed sober without going to AA, picking up a drink, and they may not be alcoholics, man. I don't know. They're an alcoholic of my type. If I don't get my medicine out of this book or through Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm going to pick up a drink again, without a doubt. So because of this one guy and what he had to share about in his lead, it got me one step closer. Little crumbs is kind of I started picking up, and then somebody told me their story and I identified with it. And somebody else said, hey, why don't you get a sponsor and work the 12 steps? And I was like, I don't know. But the first sober Christmas was coming around the corner, and I did not want to follow up with that same bottom I had the year before. And I really planted my feet in Alcoholics Anonymous because I heard this guy in the back of the room, and I really liked what he had to say. And I was like, you know what, I'll try out the sponsorship. And he sat with me every single Sunday, an hour before the meeting, my home group, which was Sunday at Tropical at 10 o'clock, and we went over the steps every single Sunday, out of the book, and had me do step work. And I'd come back and do it. And I started getting relief after about 30 days of doing this. The fear, all the tape playing resentments I was having in my head, all the anxiety started to kind of slowly go away. Plus, people at my home group started to get to know me and ask, hey, man, how was your week? How'd that work thing go? How'd that ex-girlfriend thing work out? Like people started really like getting into my life, and I was like, wow, all right, they're not really, first I was like, well, maybe they want my money, maybe I'm going to be selling some books, maybe I'm going to do some door-to-door salesman stuff, because I'm a very suspicious, untrustworthy alcoholic, and it took me a minute to kind of trust you guys. But the integrity came through, the grace came through over time, and, I got to know the people who were really working this program. And after about 7 months, I got through the steps and I worked it, outlined as in the book. And I started sponsoring other guys, and my life started getting better and better and better. It's just how it works. It's this weird, bizarre phenomenon that I can't explain. And it's an experience that each and every one of us has to go through. And it talks about it in the steps in the book. I want to read something real quick that popped up today on page 25 of the big book. And it's under there's a solution. And it says there's a solution. Almost none of us like the self-searching, the leveling of our pride, the confession of shortcomings, which process requires for its successful consummation. But we saw that it really worked in others, and we had come to believe in the hopelessness and futility of life as we had been living it. When, therefore, we were approached by those in whom the problem had been solved, there was nothing left of us to pick up the simple kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. We have found much of heaven, and we have been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence of which we had not even dreamed. The great fact is this, and nothing less, that we have had deep and effective spiritual experiences which have revolutionized our whole attitude towards life, to our fellows, and towards God's universe. That right there is like my topic for tonight, is the spiritual tools. And it's something that I have to constantly keep sharpening in my toolbox, and I have to use it. Actually, I've got this rack mount kit at home. I'm a musician. I've been working on. Anyway, so I had to pull out some Allen wrenches. And man, they all rusted up, dude. And I don't know if they're expensive now, and they're really, once they start to rust up, the tools on these Allen wrenches, they don't get locked into the heads of the screws anymore, And that's kind of a metaphor of my tools. Like if I don't use my tools, whether it's prayer, whether it's being of service, whether it's working with another alcoholic, whether it's doing a 10-step, having a commitment at a meeting, doing a 4-step inventory, doing a 3rd, 7th, or St. Francis prayer, stuff gets rusty. And in about 10 years of sobriety, I thought I had arrived because my career was doing all right, everything was doing okay, and I started making really poor decisions. And I figured out that you don't have to stop going to meetings to mess up your life. I mean, you don't have to pick up a drink to mess up your life. Just stop going to meetings for a while. Work the steps backwards, man. Eventually we'll get to step 2 and step 1, and things will get really crazy and unmanageable. And that happened to me. And I made some really poor financial decisions and business decisions, but the good news is I reached out to other alcoholics and to a sponsor, got back in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and we really, and then it's like a bar graph, man. Here's my life, here's AA. This is how it works. That's been my experience over 17 years, And it all comes down to those spiritual tools. Is that my time?
No.
Okay. All right, give me a buzz. 3 minutes, wonderful. So, coming out of post-COVID, my sponsor moved away, picked up Chuck. Hey, we need to work some steps. Let's do a fear inventory. I need to get seated back into a good, solid amount of meetings. I need to work with newcomers. I need to call people on a regular basis. And as a result, the past year of coming back, or 2 years of coming back into in-person meetings, man, that fear, anxiety, that obsession of whatever I was into started to dissipate. So, if you're new, welcome. If you're going through anything, no matter what time you got, reach out to another alcoholic. Pick up some of the tools that are out of that toolkit that your sponsor may have given you. Let's see, since I only have a few minutes left, the topic tonight is what tool did you use this past week to stay sober, get some recovery? And if you're new, stay sober. What tool did you use? What spiritual tool did you use? So I'm going to shut up now and turn it over to whatever the next thing is.
Awesome.
All right?